Hi, it's Christopher Smith, your host of Relevantly Speaking. For this episode, I thought it would be interesting if we went behind the scenes of the podcast and spoke with Scott Parent, our producer. We're going to talk about everything from why we started the podcast to where we see it going in the future. I hope you enjoy it. So Scott, the first question that I have is why the podcasting? Why did we decide to integrate podcasting into our traditional blog format?
Well, I think that blogs are really powerful. We know that there's a lot of influential voices on the web, but we're increasingly living in an internet world, faster speeds, people getting new technology that allows them to watch video, listen to audio, and I think that the blogging is only one element, and the podcast gave us a whole other voice in a more multimedia approach to be able to get our message out. And it actually worked out that the blog has since become our internal voice within our company. We have perspectives. We think we have really bright people working at MediaTrust. The blog has become sort of our internal perspective, and the interviews we're doing on Relevantly Speaking in the podcast are exterior forces, tastemakers, influencers that have their perspective. So it's sort of become a different approach to how we're getting out information and covering stories.
So let's talk about the mechanics a little bit about how the podcasts actually get made. There's two parts to that. There's obviously the perspective of what we're reaching for, but there's also, some of the equipment requirements that are needed.
Sure. Really the way that we went about setting up the equipment, and anybody's going to be defined by sort of their resource constraints. You have a certain amount of money that you can spend or that you're comfortable spending on an initiative like this. And so with that in mind, the goal was to pick the right equipment for the job. And we knew that 90% of the interviews we'd be doing would be sort of run and gun. We'd have available light or an on-camera light. We'd be at a trade show where we'd need a handheld microphone. We'd be something where we have to set up and go within 30 seconds. So the equipment choices were made around that. The other piece that we considered was with convergence with Apple TV, with people increasingly consuming content in their living rooms or in their offices on their 30-inch monitor, how can we get it so that our stuff looks and sounds as good as something on network TV or, so always striving for the best quality. So we chose, a 3-chip high definition camera. We chose great audio equipment in terms of our microphones, our lavaliers, our on-camera lighting, all things that helped sort of accomplish the mission, which is record great high definition audio, great sound in a quick fashion that is adaptable that we can set up quickly.
And your choice of a high-definition camera opened up a whole nother audience to us through iTunes and the high-def feeds that we have there.
Yeah, I mean, increasingly, more companies are coming on board, but having great content is one thing. But if you're offering high-def, well-shot, well-produced content in Apple TV, it gives you just sort of a leg up because people are going to be apt to say, oh, high-def content, what's in there, what's done well? And they may discover later on, oh, and they actually have something good to say too, but it's sort of the shine and the sheen that attracted them in the first place.
And then talk about the attraction of consumers and watchers, viewers here for Relevantly Speaking. Blogs and podcasts live or die by kind of their audience reach. We've tried to approach this in two different fashions, one with obviously the content, but there's also things that you're using, processes, technologies within the social web that help distribute the podcast out.
There was really two schools of thinking. There's sort of an older school, which is, in marketing, which is get out the message and ultimately have everybody come back to your web property. Put all your video content, your blogging in one place and try and get everybody in there. Our sort of approach was a little bit different, and that's in the sense that let's reach out to people where they live. If you hang out on Facebook, we'll make the video available on Facebook. If you hang out on YouTube and you've got a bunch of activity that you do on YouTube, let's reach YouTube and Vidler and Veo and MySpace Video and all these places. And so we publish it to one place and then that gets pushed out. And so it just reaches, the distribution is, the thinking is more places, more eyeballs, and it's really paid off for us because in percentage wise, the amount of people that actually watch our video on our website is much smaller compared to the people that we see viewing across the dozen other sites. And at the end of the day, as long as your video is watermarked, you've got your website on the end, they know where to find you, where you're trying to direct them, that's as powerful as bringing them to your website.
So we started Relevantly Speaking as a text-based blog. We've moved into video podcasting now, and we have some plans in the work for a few other things. Why don't we talk about some of that?
Sure. Video is ultimately sort of our best case scenario. When we have the chance to shoot video for, because of geography, when someone's close by, we're at a conference and our schedules sync up, video is, great first choice. But there are a lot of people that have things to say that it doesn't make sense for us. So we're looking at other technologies, whether it's video chat through Skype or iChat, or maybe it's using audio and getting someone on a phone line and doing an interview that way. So doing some audio things. And when neither of that's possible or feasible, or just doesn't make a lot of sense for scheduling, we're going to be doing this 5 questions sort of. We have to come up with a title. But this option of where we can take someone that we find is interesting and we pose 5 questions to them about what's going on in the industry, in their business, in the space, and then publish that as a text interview on Relevantly Speaking. Because to us, great content is great content, whether it's on the page, on video, or in your ear, and make sure that we harness that and get the best, most unique voices in the digital advertising, digital marketing space. That's really what the mission of Relevantly Speaking is, and we'll do it however we need to do it.
I appreciate you taking the time, kind of explaining that to us. I'm hoping that we were able to, kind of shed some light on what we do here, and definitely looking forward to working with you more on this.
Awesome. Same here. Thanks.
Cheers.